as a reflection of that. That's gonna be cleared off in a minute anyway. But whew, y'all, I just got this sharp shoulder pain like all of a sudden. I don't know what's been going on. Excuse me, what's been going on, but God has really been having me to rest, to rest, and I'm grateful for it. So, yeah. Mm, mm. Y'all, wormwood tastes really, really, really gross. I'm not gonna lie. It reminds me of something a little bit worse, like almond bark, or pecan bark. But I am really cleaning out my intestines, so I need this. Um, and it's the easiest way. So there you have it. I really like my little queen mug. My friend actually got this for me for Christmas. Um, she knows I like pageantry and stuff like that. So, anyhow, hoot. Thank you for everyone who has came in. I'm trying to wait till at least it's a reasonable amount of time. Um, my analytics have been telling me to not start until a little bit later, which is kind of weird because the time that they're saying that people are watching it, which is not adding up because they'll say it's only 2 or 3 viewers that are watching it, but it'll say the average time is 5 to 7 minutes. So if it's 5 to 7 minutes, wouldn't you want to, it's just weird. But anyhow, who I'm going to start, and oh yeah, I forgot to tell you guys, thank you for if I selected you as a moderator, which I've selected quite a bit of you guys. Thank you for accepting. Um, I haven't had anyone to reject it, even though if you did, it wouldn't, you know, wouldn't hurt me. But I'm very, very grateful for that. Um, and I'm glad that I've had more opportunities on this platform. I've been on here a couple of years. You guys know, uh, it was almost like I was invisible. Like the analytics, it was hiding me underneath the barrier. And so, yeah, I'm grateful. But I'm not worried about that because to whom much is given, much is required. And another thing that I've noticed is that truth is truth. And this is what brought me to talk about this topic today. Okay? Um, do not get in the way of what God is doing. I was reflecting back, God had got me up, has been getting me up lately and just doing some things and giving me, and not only giving me ideas to do, but giving me the energy and the stamina to do it. Um, this was one of the times that I started feeling more myself, and I didn't feel so much of the warfare attached. Now I felt some of them, I witnessed some of them, but uh, for excuse me, for the most part, I definitely have seen God's presence over my covering me during this time. And he had already told me that I'll be, resting, but building. Like I'm gonna rest, but things are gonna go very swiftly for me. And as I was, listening to God and going on about my day, I'm like, okay, but I've seen so many other people who, like surpass me, and you don't want to compare, but you kind of do because you're human, and you're like, I know I put in this work and this person is doing this, and God was just like, reminding me, like scripture wise, like to read my scripture, not just coming in popping words in my head. Sometimes that happens, but literally he was just redirecting me, do not be weary in doing good, do not grow weary in doing what is right. You will be okay, And I was like, okay. And but I still was still remembering. It doesn't take that away. Um, and God was reminding me, like, look, my time is my time. Your time is still my time because you committed to me. So if it's not yours, you have to release. I'm not gonna force you, but you're gonna have to release, and you have to trust that process. And I was just like, man, you keep thinking about all the people who did you wrong, all the people who are doing you dirty. And I made a video about, how God was telling me I have to let go and let people be okay with feeling like they got over on you. Like, and I know that sounds kind of bad, but that's something that I really had to deal with because I've always been a person like, if you get me, I'm going to get my lick back and I'm going to get it really well, okay? I really am. I am. Like, people will say I'm nice. I am nice to a point, and you really have to push me there. But once you do, it's over, and I'm coming. I'm coming. That's just my character. I can let things go. I can forgive, but there's still leftovers. There's things that you have to do. Don't think that just because you hit me, I'm gonna be like, oh yeah, I forgive you, and nothing else happened. No, I'm gonna get my leg back, and then I'll forgive you, but you're still gonna get this two piece because you need to know that there's consequences if you ever try to do this again. You have to understand that, and yeah. So even when you come at me, I had to deal with that. People coming at me and saying stuff, and it's like my tongue is so sharp, y'all. It's the pettiness in me that really gets me. Like, and I will say some stuff and don't even care. And when I say don't even care, I don't not even some of the things that I say is already sharp anyway because of just how I'm built, how my structure is. It's just really brutal and honest. Not to be offensive, but it's very honest, even with myself. Even with myself, I have no that whole regulation. Oh, be kind. No, no, no. That's a lot of babying. To me, that's babying. Um, and so, um, yeah. And so I had to deal with that. But God was telling me, like, me not letting things fully go and surrender to Him and letting these people, other people, succeed and get it at higher rates, it's preventing you, it's hurting you because you need to let them go ahead and go because where they're elevating, the way they're going, they're not going as high as you're going. This was another thing that my boyfriend told me this. People are not always going as high as you're going. And so yeah, it looks a little bit harder. It's gonna take you a little bit longer, but in the end, you're gonna have the greater reward. And I was talking about this even with my going to school. Like I was like, dang, this doggone occupation, you constantly have to go to school. This is like, and in order to be there, I have to get a higher degree. Like and so that means you got all this in grade school, and then you still going to school, which I don't have a problem with learning, but the school element sometimes bothers me. But there's no other way. You still have to be a scholar in some aspect, even if you don't like the whole. Some people love to be in that bubble and only in that bubble. I'm a venturer by heart, so I love education. I will never talk down education, y'all. Never. But me just learning inside of an institution and doing that would not be for me. A long time, just all in the library. Well, I do love being in the library all day, every day, but just only doing scholarly work, and that would not be. I would have to need a way of expression, and so who let's not get off the topic, but that goes hand in hand. Some of those things, in order to have that, it takes more work. It takes more work. So then, yeah, you might have to let go of the job that's paying you $60,000-$70,000 a year, and go for the job that's paying you 30, maybe 28 a year. This is one thing that I literally had to do, and be okay with it. That's really hard. Like, but I believe that everything that I went through really helped me for this transition in my mindset. Be okay with that because that's going to help you. Once you get finished, you'll be able to get all of that, and you'll have the experience, and you'll have the knowledge, and you'll have everything else to be where you want to be. And so yeah, so I was just talking to God about that, like, and God was telling me, let these people go. Don't mess up what I'm trying to do, because God's like, at the end of the day, a lot of these people who have been dogging you, who have been doubting you, who have been pushing you aside and saying all this other stuff, they know that you were great. They know that you have something. They know what you lack too. But how I'm gonna make it, I'm gonna make it to the point where your enemies are really gonna be your footstool, meaning that they are going to not just see you come up, but they are going to work for you. And this is what God told me. I don't know about nobody else. If you hear this, ask God. But I know this is what God told me. That a lot of these people who were going at me, who were flipping the script, trying to turn things and turn people against me, they are going to be working for me. Somehow they are going to be working for me. And I don't know if that meant, I'm actually working for me, or whatever they're saying is gonna benefit me in some kind of way. I don't know. I don't know how that's going, but I do believe that that's true because I know what I heard from God. I know what God put in my spirit. So, and you got to think about it. Think about, Joseph. People, he talked about that, um, and they were asking his brothers after he had been betrayed and he had gotten to the top. He was in jail and all of this stuff, and he got to the top, and his brothers asked for forgiveness when he was second in command. He wasn't upset. He was, he cried about what happened, but he understood that it was for his good. All those things that happened to him was for his good. Okay? And now he's over them. He's taking care of them. They're not taking care of him. They're not looking. He's not looking for them for bread. They're looking for him for bread. He's supplying their needs. He is the lender and not the borrower. And so you have to take it as that, and be okay. Be okay sometimes with not getting the last laugh all the time. Be okay with people overlooking you. Be okay with people getting promoted ahead of you. I told you guys about that even before. Some of the things, what some people, I was like, man, I know that they don't like me because of the color of my skin, yo, because the trainees, I came in there so professional, and they loved it, but they did not pick me. And these people picked, they kept saying it was some of the things that, some of the modules that they didn't like that I did, but they picked 3 people that I trained firsthand, and so I knew that what I was given, I was like, well, maybe it's my attitude, but I'm very bubbly, that could be it. But when I looked at one of them, that couldn't been it, but be okay with that. It was there, and understand this: God opens and closes doors. He really does. We always talk about how the enemy does that, but he cannot do that unless God allows him to do that. So, understand that. When you understand who is fully in control, you are okay. You are okay with sitting down. You are okay with resting. You're okay, because I used to feel like I gotta do this. I gotta show God, that I really care for him, and I will be burning myself out when God sometimes wants you to wait and sit down and allow him to work for you on your behalf. Because we really are not in control of any of this. This assignment that we all have, everybody has an assignment. We didn't create it. We agreed to do it. And then we also get a chance, once we get here, to agree again. We get chances time after time, day after day, whether we can change our mind or not. And so, understand this: when you really make a commitment and you really understand how things work, and if you're really totally surrendered to God, you have to understand that this is a process. This happens in life every single time. And the people who don't acknowledge it and don't go through this process, they live in resentment, they live in guilt, they live in fear, they live in anguish, because they never get to where they need to go. They never get to fulfill what their life's passion and their goal is supposed to be, because they were too busy looking on the sides and seeing everybody else doing everything else instead of going straight forward, like a horse, straight nozzle head forward, and keeping going to what God told them to be. And because of that, listen, a lot of people, I know that I can't do that. I have to catch myself because yes, it's tough. I'm not gonna say it's not hard. It is hard, but you gotta understand if you stop and you mess and you don't push forward, a lot of people's destinies are connected to you. So now the message that you had to give to that person who was leaning on it to go to their next phase is not happening because you haven't moved and you haven't done what you needed to do. So remember that. Now, God will always reroute things. He always sees things and knows things, but understand when you are with Him, He guides your footsteps. He guides your footsteps, and you can't say, "Here, God, take my life," and then take it back and expect to have the miracle. You know, a good illustration about that is think about the teddy bear, and we always talk about that when they had that little painting of the guy who's supposed to look like Jesus, always the string hair guy with the he has the teddy bear, and the girl is going. It's a little white girl, and she has a nice sized teddy bear, and God is asking the man is asking her. I'm not even gonna say God, but it's supposed to be an illustration of. So the man is asking to have that bear so that she can have what's behind his back, and behind his back is a larger teddy bear, like freaking 4 or 5 times bigger than the actual teddy bear that she has. But she is so focused on what she has that she can't imagine having something greater, understanding that greater is right behind it, right in front of her, and right behind his back. So that's the same thing that you're dealing with when you're stepping into the faith in the faith system of God. God wants to see and wants you to understand that you have the passenger seat when He is in control. You have the passenger seat, okay? Yes, you control the driver of your life, but when you give up that will and you allow God to take in, He has the driver's seat, now you're the passenger. And so, understand that. So, with that, hopefully it got your ears and your gears to grind and to think about the words that were spoken through me today. I am going to get off of here. Hopefully something I said or done will help you on your journey. Please stay tuned to Journey to Jerusalem, and thank you so very much. Bye.